It's Melissa, and this is your 5-minute working mom break. So let's talk about where do I find the energy. It's something that I address in my book coming out October 31st, Fertile Imagination. And the reason why it's so urgent is because every single time on Instagram, I'm asked, how do I find the energy to do what I do? How do I find the energy to be a mom to 3 little boys, 2 of whom are 9, one is 12, and podcast every single week? And write this book, which is not a light read, and also figure out how to build my business as a solopreneur. So here's the answer. There are 4 things that I have done in conjunction with one another, some of which you have heard before. However, they're really hard to execute on in a consistent manner because it's about changing your behaviors and letting go of control in certain aspects of your life. So, I go into detail in terms of the conversation that I had with James Altucher, who has an entire chapter dedicated to our conversation in the book. And if you are right now, poking around on LinkedIn, or if you're on Facebook and you're trying to figure out, okay, like, how do I approach either my career reinvention? How do I pivot into another field? Or how do I just take today and feel better about myself? That takes energy, right? So you have this notion of inertia. So let's say you're going in one direction and an object that's in motion stays in motion. And let's say you're going in the wrong direction, which is a lot of what is happening for moms these days because we're constantly interrupted and taken off course our original plans for the day, for our careers, for our lives. So how do you do this? So you need energy to just stop, first of all, to stop and reflect on what needs to happen next. So you have to stop the object that is in the wrong motion. That's going to take energy. Then the energy that you need is you're going to have to figure out, okay, so now what, right? So what's the best next step? Who should I speak to now? And obviously there's trepidation there in terms of talking to people on your next steps when you don't really know what they might be. So all of this I talk about in my book, Fertile Imagination, is coming out October 31st, and it's going to be available for that one day only in its Kindle format at 99 cents. And here's the deal. For anyone that has ever worked with me, or for anyone who knows me personally, you know that I am very, very, what's the word? Hardcore. So that means that anything that I'm going to share with you in this book is something that I have actually used myself, and they've been reality tested. I've even created like the cutest little like Good Housekeeping seal like emblem to reflect that on some of the reviews I've gotten from moms just like you, just like me, the ones who actually reheat our coffee over and over and over just to get through the day. So let's see. Let me start giving you a little bit more of a teaser, right? So let's see. Melissa, how do I gather the energy today in order to stop, reflect? Next step, know what is the right next step, right? So step 1 is this. There is emotional baggage that you are carrying. I don't even need to know you to know that that is the truth. Why? As a coach for 12 years and as a mom for exactly those parallel 12 years, I have had conversations with individuals who have what I identify as career trauma. Career trauma, I don't even care at this point pertaining to whether it's a capital or lowercase t, because at the end of the day, it changes who you think you are, right? If you've gone through some big stuff, it changes who you engage with and how big you let yourself grow as far as playing bigger versus playing smaller. So that emotional baggage, it's an energy drain. And if you're not in a career or you're not doing something that you are excited by, jazzed up by, energized by, then it is really difficult to find some more energy without addressing the emotional baggage you currently are carrying. I think if we could make it physical, if this emotional baggage were an actual backpack, we would have hunched backs. And I think that goes for working moms and stay-at-home moms and any mom in between. So I really encourage you to take that one step so you could get some more energy. Just figure out what is the emotional baggage that I am carrying today, this moment, that I need to release so that I have at least an ounce more of energy to get through the next 24-hour day, right? So that's the first tiny little step. I go into great detail in Fertile Imagination. I have a conversation with James Altucher. You might know him. He has his own podcast, The James Altucher Show. And he is also a dad. And at one point, he was working at HBO and building his multi-million-dollar business at the same time. Talk about requiring a lot of energy. And he also goes to talk about slaying dragons. And I then think to myself, well, moms can slay dragons too. And so I made a point to actually speak to that as well, because I believe in you. That's it. That's the answer. I believe in every mom. There's nothing in this world that a mom cannot do if she wants to do it. That's the whole thing. And that wantingness is the reason why I wrote this book about a fertile imagination, because what I realized for me is that once I stopped wanting things, then that was a problem. And what was missing in my life that I needed back in order to start wanting things, right? So it's one thing to run away and do things out of fear. But what about running towards something that brings you pleasure? And so for me, it had always been my imagination. And without my imagination, it was impossible for me to feel enthusiastic or energized by the thrill of pursuing any meaningful goal. Absolutely impossible. And so that's another way you can boost your jet engines, right? Having a goal that actually pulls you towards it. That's what you want. You want that pull, but then you also have to check your emotional baggage. So check out all the details on my website, fertileideas.com. Go to fertileideas.com right now. I want you to take a look at something quite specific. So if you actually take a look at the questions that I've listed out in terms of if you've ever wondered, then this book is for you. I want you to look at the question that most deeply resonates with you and let me know which one is that one. So just send me a private message or put it in the comments. And there's about, 8 questions or so that you can select from. And just let me know which one is the one that's been on your mind. Like, for example, have you ever asked yourself, why do I want more? Or maybe it's this one. Where do I find the energy? So again, emotional drain. You have to figure out what is draining you emotionally. It's only one of 4 levers that you can pull as per the conversation I have with James Altucher. And all of that is in the book coming out October 31. Who else is excited about this? I want to just share one thing. On Instagram, are you following me on Instagram at Melissa Lorena? Because on Instagram right now, my chapter 3 guest, DJ Yo Mama, literally attached a Tupac song to her Instagram story featuring the book. And I highly suggest, if you're a Tupac fan, and I get it, if you're on LinkedIn, it's like, no, not me. I'm a serious corporate executive. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. But if you like Tupac, you might want to go to Instagram and check out the story that DJ Your Mama actually added some Tupac music to. So she is amazing. She's from Amsterdam. She's in her 50s and she's a DJ. She's a mom and she suffered major health situations and her daughter, and both of them are recovered and they are living their YOLO existence. So if anything else, go to Instagram at Melissa Lorena, or just go to fertileideas.com so you can look at those questions, 2 options. I know I didn't give you one call to action like a really good marketer, but I have faith in you that you will choose the right path. All right, have a good one. And until tomorrow, get on the list for the book and get your free chapter on fertileideas.com.